Hey guys, thanks for joining me. In this class we're going to be moving into the hamstrings a fair bit, so really feeling this up the back of the legs, which can mean that blocks really come into their own with some of these poses. So if you have something like a block, it doesn't need to be a block, it could even be a pot, just to help prop you up at certain times, go ahead and grab like two things that feel kind of similar size. And then when you're ready, we're going to get started on our backs. So as you come onto your back, just find a comfortable position, which might look like a complete starfish, might look like a Supta Baddha Konasana. Maybe you want to keep your knees pressed together and your feet out wide. Whatever pose you've come into, let's just allow the body to settle here. It's not trying to over effort or overstretch or do anything in the over category, except for maybe over relaxing, I guess. But just try to be present with your breath, with the sensation, and try to really let go of expectations of what you think your hamstrings should or shouldn't be doing. In the yoga world, every yoga teacher I know probably mention that the most common thing that people say to us is that I can't even touch my toes. Now, touching your toes isn't something we need to be able to do unless it improves your life in some way. I wouldn't hold it with such high regard. Instead, just bringing focus to that feeling that we get when we're letting our arms drop and our hands come towards our toes. So we feel that pull up the back of the legs. You don't need to be flexible and you don't need to have the longest hamstrings to do yoga or to enjoy it. So dropping the need to be good or perfect or whatever word you associate. And I invite you just to really feel and listen to your body throughout this class. Notice the areas that feel a bit tight and uncomfortable. Don't try to judge them. Just take a few more breaths here. Letting go of intention or letting go of expectation, letting go of the need to be something that we might not be. Clearing the slate. And then just gently starting to bring your knees in towards your belly when you're ready. As you bring them in, just hugging them in and roll from side to side or make some circles. We're going to straight away start to move into those hamstrings. So let your left foot connect with the earth, left knee points to the ceiling. Just going to hold on to the back of the right knee, and if that's a real struggle, just holding on to the front of the knee. If we can hold on to the back, just going to start to straighten the right leg as best as we can. It doesn't need to be straight. So the right foot comes towards the ceiling, and you can just flex that foot, so pull the toes towards the knee. Just holding on to the back of the thigh, the back of the knee, the back of the calf muscle or ankle. Really just play around with where that works for you. But pushing through that right heel. Take a full breath in here. And then breath out, hugging your right knee in towards the chest. If you can, interlace your hands around the front of the knee. Just pull the knee a little bit over towards that right shoulder. Then letting the right foot come to the earth, grounding through the right foot, extending the left leg up, holding on to the back of that leg. Now remembering if our leg is bent, that is okay. Let's just flex that foot back. And just experiment with how far you might want to take the hands up. You might want to shift them halfway. Keep flexing. Take a full breath in Then bending that knee, interlacing your hands around the front of the knee, pulling the knee towards the left shoulder a little. And just taking another breath. And then pulling both knees in towards your belly. This time we're going to hold on to the backs of the knees and start to straighten the legs up. Once again, they don't need to be straight, but straightening them up, holding maybe the lower part of the upper part of the thighs or anywhere else, and just flexing both feet towards the knees. Take a big breath in, then holding onto the backs of your knees, bend your knees. We're going to rock and roll along the length of the spine. And if you're not comfortable doing this, don't do it, just come right up. But if you can, just adjust my microphone. If you can, rock and rolling along the length of the spine 3 times. And then when you come to the end of your third, coming up, extend your legs. Let's just come into a forward fold. Once again, no rules about straight legs. They can be bent here. You can sit on something, but start to lift up maybe. And then from here, starting to hinge forward, belly towards your thighs. If you can touch your toes, go ahead. But remembering it's not the goal here. So hands can be either sides of the legs. I quite like to hold the backs of the knees and wrap my arms underneath and fold closer to the legs. If you have the feet, you can pull a little closer. And there are people that have particularly long hamstrings, and if you fall into that category, your block will be useful here in front of your feet, or your block-like thing to hold on to and pull a little closer. But any option that feels good for your body is what we're looking for. Let's just take one more breath here. And slowly starting to lengthen up again. Let's cross the legs if you're comfortable with that and roll onto hands and knees. And as we come onto hands and knees, we're just going to move a bit back and forth until we find that stacked position. And then some cat-cows, so 3 rounds. Inhale, lift the tail, drop the belly, heart forward. Exhale, round the spine, press into the hands. And again, big breath in. And a big breath out. And last one, full breath in. And a full breath out. And just coming into that neutral spine, press into the hands, tuck your left toes, extend your right leg back. Now from here, we're going to look towards the left and start to take the right foot as far over to the left as we can get it. Tucking those toes, pressing into the ball of the foot, and pull your heart forward. From here, drive the heel away from the midline. Take another full breath in. And exhale, start to transition back to center, extending the right leg back, and then bringing the right knee down. Tuck your right toes, inhale, left leg comes back. You can flex or point, whatever feels best. And then we're taking that foot over to the right. So just starting to transition, tuck the toes though. You're pushing the left heel away, but pulling your heart forward. Draw the shoulders back, take a big breath in. Start to transition back, breath out, bringing the leg back. Come back onto hands and knees. Move about. And from here, tucking the toes, take a big inhale, and then lift up, downward facing dog. And as always, just allow your body to move into the shape, so bending of the knees. And then when you're ready to find stillness, go ahead. We're going to lift up onto the tippy toes, take a big breath in, and then start to walk our feet all the way to our hands. Coming into ragdoll from here. So from this position, holding on to opposite elbows or just letting your arms dangle down. Bend one knee at a time. Find as much space as you can in the back of the legs, shifting the weight forwards and back into the balls of the feet and the heels. Take another full breath in. Let your arms come down as you breathe out. Bend your knees, roll up to standing. Give your shoulders a nice big roll once you come up. Lifting up through the heart space, spark the fingers, bring the gaze up, drop your shoulders down. Take another full breath in, and as you breathe out, big cactus arms, open your heart. So create a bit of space here. Bring your hands now onto the small of your back, fingertips spread. Now really pressing into the back, lift the heart, tuck the tail a little, squeeze your elbows back, just open the heart just a little. Big inhale, tuck your chin towards your chest, straighten up your spine, bring your hands just beside your body. Inhale, big reach up. Exhale, let's start to come all the way back into the fold, so softening through the knees, belly to the thighs, and finding the fold. Your next breath in here, slide your hands up onto your legs, lengthen, hold here in a halfway lift. So draw the shoulders back, push into the balls of the feet and the heels of the feet. Feel weight even on all four corners if you can. Take another full breath in. And then letting that fold happen again, a little more organically. So bend the knees and soften. And we'll do that 3 times. We're going to ebb and flow with the breath. So hands can come to the ground, float or press. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, softening the knees. So flow with your breath. Halfway lift, big inhale. Exhale, find your fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, find your fold. Bend the knees, coming up to standing. Just one big breath if that feels okay. Take a big inhale, come up. And then bring your hands in towards your heart. Exhale. Shift the weight into your left foot. Pick your right knee up. Pull it in towards your belly. Interlace your hands around the front of the knee. From here, just lifting the knee, lifting the heart, pulling up nice and high. Take a big breath in. And then as you let go of your breath, letting go of the right knee, but drop the right foot so it lands behind and on the outside of the left foot, so your legs are crossed here. Inhale, bring the hands up. And then exhale, keeping the legs crossed, bring the hands to your heart and come back into a fold. Inhale, move into a halfway lift here, and this will feel different, but still into those hamstrings as you exhale and fold. Coming up to standing, and this can feel challenging for the balance. So just kind of assess how fast or slow you want to go. Inhale, bring the hands up, bring them into heart, and then just sweeping the right foot out. Ground the right foot, land there, pick up your left knee. From this position, hold on to the front of the knee, find a bit of height here, find your balance. Then letting go of that foot, bring it around the outside of the right foot. From here, inhale, arms come up. Exhale, find your fold. So the legs hug together, finding that fold, feeling all those little shakes. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, coming all the way up. So if you're feeling a little shaky, take the time. Reach your arms up, inhale, take the left leg out, hands at heart, exhale. Big breath in, once again, a big lift of the arms. Regular forward fold, this time on your exhale breath. Halfway lift, inhale. Ground your hands, step back, downward facing dog, breath out. Pedal your feet, your hamstrings will already be feeling it, so give them some space. Take another full breath here. And then when you're ready, start to float your right leg up towards the ceiling. Exhale, pull the right knee in, step your foot to the top of the mat and as many steps as you need. Drop your back knee. If you have blocks or similar, grab them now. Untuck your back toes. I'm just going to move back and forth through the hips here. So you don't need to necessarily have blocks. You could have your hands just on the ground, of course, but having them propped up on something just gives you a bit of space. Then from here, I want you to find half Hanuman. So you're going to lift the left hip so it's above that knee, and then start to flex the right foot and straighten that right leg, pulling your heart forward. Now from this position, once again, you can stay on blocks and you can adjust the height, or hands could be just on the ground. Maybe you're folding a little further forward, but just find the space that works best. Take another full breath in here. And then breath out, so to bend your front knee. If you're using blocks, just shift them forward now. From here, tuck your back toes, float the back knee, bring your hands either onto your blocks or slightly forward, and come into a little standing splits. Now it doesn't need to be really high, just floating the left leg up. I tend to open my hip a little bit here. Now, There are lots of schools of thought that might say that is not a good idea, and I get that, but it might feel really nice just to give your hips that space. Folding over your front leg, take a big breath in, then let your left foot come down and meet your right foot. Find a forward fold. Your feet can be together or hip distance. Find a halfway lift on your breath in. Ground your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Move around. And when you're ready, the left leg will lift up, and we're going to exhale, pull it forward. Step the foot forward, drop the back knee. If you've got your blocks, grab them, or hands just stay on the ground. Move back and forth first of all. And then when you're ready to find half Hanuman, you can keep the back toes tucked or untucked. Straighten that left leg, pull your heart forward. And you can obviously go a little deeper, but just really flexing that left foot so you feel it in a way that's great for you. If you're using blocks here, you might find that height just gives you a bit more space to get actually a deeper stretch. And from here, starting to bend the front knee. If you've got blocks, bring them forward, and you can come into standing splits, hands on blocks or on the ground as you lift the right leg and fold towards the left. And as you get more confident, you can think about taking your hands off the blocks, folding a little deeper, take a big breath in, and then let the right foot come down, let it meet the left foot, forward fold. Halfway lifting, inhale. And then exhale, hands meet the earth, step back, downward facing dog from here. From here, lifting up onto your tippy toes, inhale, roll forward, plank pose. Exhale, lower to the ground. From here, untuck your toes, lift your heart for cobra. Exhale, tuck the toes, float it back, downward facing dog. Your next inhale, float your right leg up. This time, bend your knee, open your hip. And then stepping the right foot between your hands. Keep your blocks at the top of the mat. Back knee stays lifted. Let's come up into Crescent Lunge. Take a big breath in. Start to straighten through your front leg. Keep your back heel lifted and bring your arms out wide, coming into a modified pyramid. Grab your blocks if you like, or hands just come down to the ground. Back heel stays lifted. Pull the left hip forward, folding over that leg, or continuing with that height. Take another full breath in. Start to bend your front knee on the exhale. From here, walk your hands forward, drop into the hips as you inhale, and then exhale, find standing splits. Float your left leg up. Take another full breath in, left foot meets the right foot, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lifting. Ground your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Take a full breath in. And out. Inhale, lift up, tippy toes, roll forward, plank pose. Exhale, pausing it halfway or to the earth, find cobra or up dog, your choice. Downward facing dog on your exhale. Left leg comes up, open the hip. Take a big breath in. Breath out, stepping it forward, come into Crescent Lunge. Lifting up the back knee if you've grounded it, find height. And then start to straighten both legs, arms wide, fold into that modified pyramid. So hands come to the ground, onto the blocks, and folding, letting go, or lengthening. Make these kinds of poses your own. Feel really different from body to body. Take another full breath in, bend the front knee, come into that lunge, drop the hips, pull the heart forward, inhale, walk the hands forward, standing splits, exhale. Take a big breath in, let that foot come down, find your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lifting, ground your hands, step back, downward facing dog from here. Take a full breath in and out. On your next inhale, float your right leg up, bend the right knee, open up through that hip. You're going to come into fallen triangle, so rock forward into your plank pose, coming up high on that ball of the back foot, just to get that transition of the knee in, then drop onto the inside of the heel, keep the knee hugged in, reach your left hand up, modified fallen triangle, left hand comes down, inhale, hug the knee in, step the foot between the hands, Crescent Lunge, big breath in, Exhale, modified pyramid. Inhale, bend the front knee, drop into that lunge, pull the heart forward. Standing splits, exhale. Inhale here. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Ground your hands, step back, downward facing dog, breath out. Inhale, roll forward, plank pose. Exhale to the ground or pause it halfway, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left leg lifts up. Inhale, bend the knee, open the hip. That modified fallen triangle. So coming forward, pull the knee in, keep the knee in, lift the back heel, drop on the inside, float the right hand up. Then right hand comes down. Lift the knee in, step the foot between the hands. Crescent lunge. Exhale, modified pyramid. Bend the front knee, drop into that inhale. Standing splits on your exhale. Inhale here. Forward fold on the breath out. Halfway lift, inhale. Ground your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Pedal out, move the feet. Inhale, roll forward, plank pose. Exhale, your option, low plank. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Downward facing dog, breath out. Gaze forward, inhale, step, float, however you want to get to the top of the mat. From here, inhale, come all the way up. On the exhale, bring your hands in towards your heart. Maybe close your eyes or just pause for a moment, find that kind of composure. Then leaning into your left foot, picking up your right knee. Interlace your hands, bring them around the front of your right knee. From here, you can just stay holding onto the knee or interlace your right hand on the outside, left hand on the inside, push into your left foot and see if you can straighten your right leg. Maybe folding forward, but does mess up the balance a little. Take a big breath in. And breath out, so to bend your left knee, come down to the ground. Pistol squat. Drop down, lift the right knee, the right leg up, Take a full breath in. Let the right leg come down. Bring your left hand behind your left hip. Let your left knee just fall out. Find wild thing, take a full breath in. And breath out, coming back. Land back onto the bottom of that left foot. You might want to use your hands to get up here, but holding onto the right foot, leg can be bent. Maybe you're just going to hold on with one hand and have one hand shoot you up. Or you're going to try to land on that left foot. From here, coming up to standing, so using your right hand to help or boosting up. Pull the knee in, let go, give yourself a little bit of a shake, and roll your shoulders, find your composure, reach your arms up. Hands to your heart, shift the weight into your right foot, pull your left knee up, interlace your hands around the knee. Stay here or try to find that little bind around the foot. Now you can bend your right knee as well, might help here, or start to straighten both. Folding only if it feels good, but does mess up the balance. Then start to bend your right knee, come down, pistol squat, drop your hips, let go of the left leg, right hand back, let the knee come out, wild thing, sweep up, full breath in, and then breath out, come back. Now once again, use your hands if you need to. This time, because I forgot it, lifting that foot, coming up a little higher, holding here. Once again, knee can be bent. Pausing for a couple of breaths. And if you can, from this position, come up to standing, go ahead. Otherwise, you might find the left hand down to support helps. Otherwise, a little rock back, land forward, come up, and then let that go. Hug the knee in, give your feet a little bit of a pedal, reach your arms up, find your forward fold, breath out. Halfway lift, inhale. Ground your hands, step back, downward facing dog. From here, inhale, right leg lifts up, bend the right knee, open your hip, and then step the right foot forward. Drop onto your back knee, let's just come into a low lunge. If you have blocks, this will be the time to use them. So hands on the blocks. We're just going to move forwards and back. Once again, the height just gives our hips the space to get a little bit more lubricated through the joints, a little bit more dynamic movement. Now from here, you might just want to stay in our low lunge, you might want to stay in our half Hanuman, or if you want to, we might start to move into our full splits. So hands will stay on the blocks. We're going to start to either straighten the right leg or keep it bent as we start to come down. Now the hands on the blocks, they can come back. They really help because they take a lot of pressure out of the hips. And you can play around. When you let go of the blocks, you can feel really heavy in the hips. But as soon as you push your hands into the blocks, it just takes a little bit of tension out. Take a full breath in here. Whatever option we're in and out. And then start to lift up. From here, just slide your right leg back, take your knees out wide or together. If you've got blocks, bring them forward, if not child's pose. But if you've got the blocks, bring your elbows onto them, drop your head between the blocks, hands make a little shark fin. Take just 1 or 2 more breaths here. And then just gently releasing, moving the blocks forward again or out to the sides. From here, coming back into our downward facing dog. So transitioning onto all fours, tuck the toes, floating it up. Moving the hips, maybe you might like to lift one leg and just sweep it over to the other side. And when you're ready, left leg comes up, bend the knee to let that hip open, and pull the knee forward, step the foot between the hands, drop your back knee, grab hold of your blocks. Of course, you can do it without, and you don't need to come into a full Hanuman. Move back and forth, and you might just want to stay in that low lunge or that half variation, or you might feel the urge to go a little deeper, and that might look like this. Just the feet as far away from one another as you can get them. If you're coming into that full extension, use your blocks to help prop you up. They take a lot of stress out of the hips when we're pressing into them. Couple of breaths here. And pushing into the blocks, lifting the hips, send that leg back. Child's pose, closed-legged or open-kneed, your option. Once again, those little block variations, you can just rest your elbows on them and your torso up high, or you can sink down. And 2 more breaths here. And slowly, just starting to come off the blocks. We're going to stay kind of in this more chilled place. We're going to come back into a forward fold. And the reason we're doing this is just to kind of check what's happened throughout the class. We started pretty early in a forward fold, and closer to the end, we're just going to check in with how that feels. So the knees can be bent. We can sit on a cushion, a block, a towel. We'll find the height, and then we're just going to start to come forward. Once again, I really like the variation of wrapping the arms under my knees, and you might like that too. You might want to go for the feet or beside. Just find whatever pose works for you. Just 1 or 2 more breaths here. We're not here for long. And we're slowly going to start to lift up. I think I said we're going to get chilled. I think we're not going to actually. Just one more thing. Let's come into boat pose. Hold on to the backs of your knees. And of course, if you're in the comfort of your home, you could have been like, you've already said that we're going to be chilled, and you can go straight into chill land. Hang out in a forward fold for 5 minutes. If not, coming into boat pose, lengthen your heart up, holding onto the backs of your knees, pull your navel up into the spine. And from here, we're going to try to interlace our peace fingers around the big toes. Once again, straight legs, not necessary. But we're going to hold on to the feet, and we might try to straighten the legs. We might not. Depends. See how we're feeling. But we might lift and lengthen. From here, you can feel a little bit weird with the balance. You might roll back, and it's kind of fun if you do. Just kind of roll with it. Take a big breath in. And then as you breathe out, re-bend your knees. Bring the heels of your feet together And then just drop them down, knees out wide. If you're in a forward fold, slide your feet back in, hold on to the fronts of your knees, lift your heart. Inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades, come forward, Baddha Konasana. Let your head just hang. Take another full breath. And then maybe another one. And then slowly start to come back up. Pull your knees in, and then we're just going to come onto our backs. So once you come onto your backs, hug your knees into your belly, move from side to side, and just roll with that, little circles perhaps. Maybe coming into a happy baby pose, holding the insides of our feet, just moving the legs a little. Haven't done a lot of things to the insides of the hips, so this might feel a little uncomfortable. So just kind of play around, maybe straighten one leg than the other. And then pull the knees back in. Hug your right knee and extend your left leg. Keeping your right knee hugged in, open up your right arm, take your right knee over to the left, find that little supine twist. And come back to center, switch it over, hug your left knee in, extend your right leg, open up, left knee over to the right. And take a full breath in. And breath out, coming back, hug your knees in. Move from side to side. If you have a wall handy, I would recommend using it for this next part. If not, once again, block. The block has had a big feature in this class. I'm going to just take the block and slide it underneath the lower back. So you're just coming into a little bridge to make that happen. And from here, we're just going to extend the legs towards the ceiling. Now, once again, a wall, ideal. So if you're next to a wall, spin around and send your legs up the wall. If you've got the block or a cushion, you might even want to bend the knees and just hold the backs of the legs. If you can, just encouraging that pressure through the lower back onto the block. You can open up your arms and just closing your eyes and just feeling that rush of energy from our Viparita Karani. If you've taken the wall option, I might encourage you to stay there a little longer, like 5 minutes or something. It's a really nice pose for just shifting a bit of energy and clearing a bit of space. If you are in the variation that I'm demonstrating, just bending your knees back in towards your belly. You might even want to hug them in and just feel that lift of the tail on the block. And then taking the feet down, removing the block, dropping your lower back onto the earth, and just start to lengthen your legs. Welcome your body into Shavasana. And as mentioned, if you're using the wall, why not just stay there for a little bit? You can even open up your legs if that feels more comfortable, or just spin over to the side, or you can meet us in Shavasana. But just taking whatever option you've come into, knowing that I'm about to sign off, just getting comfortable, letting your breath kind of take over. So again, dropping that expectation, that idea that this needs to be perfect as well. Just let it be what it is. And hopefully you have a bit of time to stay here. This is where I will say goodbye, however. Namaste.